Should you buy the PlayStation 5 in 2020? How about the Xbox Series X? Well, I think it's time we break down what we know so far and see if we can help find out which of these next-gen consoles could suit you best. What makes this console generation so interesting is how different it is from the generations that came before it. For the first time I can think of, all three major console makers are doing their own things instead of fully directly competing with one another. I mean, sure, Nintendo's just been off doing their own thing since the days of the Wii, and they still are, but to say that the PS5 and Series X are targeting the same folks absolutely would be wrong. There's some overlap, sure, but each of these systems have their own strengths and weaknesses that we're going to cover in today's buying guide. So today on The Gamer, let's answer the question: should you get an Xbox Series X or PS5 in 2020? Launch day. First off, if you absolutely need a next-gen console as soon as possible, then we need to look at launch days. I mean, to be fair, there's really not much separating the release of these two time-wise. The Series X, and by extension the Series S, launched November 10th, while both PS5 versions launched 2 days later on November 12th. So, I mean, I guess the Xbox beats the PS5 to the punch here, but only by a whopping 2 days. Now, if you want the cheapest option available, that's where things get more interesting. The Series S is $100 cheaper than the PS5 all digital, costing only $299. Compare this to both the full-spec launch Series X and the disc-capable PS5, both of which are $499. Though I'd argue Xbox is actually more affordable overall, as not only do they have the cheapest console option available out of these four with the Series S, but they also have payment plans available. So instead of paying $300 up front, you can instead potentially pay $25 a month for 24 months and also get 2 years of Xbox Game Pass with that. As such, I'd argue that as far as affordability goes, Microsoft wins this round. Exclusives. Microsoft has struggled for years to compete with Sony for exclusives, and while the likes of Halo Infinite may please many an Xbox fan, the fact is that between Demon's Souls and the upcoming Final Fantasy XVI, Sony is killing it with the PS5 exclusives right now. And those two are just the tip of the iceberg. God of War Ragnarok, Gran Turismo 7, Horizon Forbidden West, these are just some of the incredible looking exclusives that you will only be able to play on PS5. I think Sony absolutely wins this round. Storage. Both of these systems are going to have storage that fills up fast, especially if you opt for the all-digital systems. The Series X actually wins out a bit here over the PS5, as it has a 1TB built-in hard drive. Meanwhile, the PS5 only has 825GB. Still, both thankfully can take external hard drives, but I'm honestly surprised that neither has a 2TB option. Modern AAA game file sizes are big, and they're only set to get bigger. While I'm sure this won't be much of a problem for fans of indie games, as those are often comparatively tiny file size-wise, I think for many a would-be next-gen system owner, this is going to be a big problem. Anyways, this round also goes to Microsoft. Hard drive speed. Now, storing games is fine, but loading them is important too. And as much of a necessary evil as they are, nobody likes load times. The new Xbox has what Microsoft is calling the Velocity Drive, which can stream data from long-time storage at a blistering 4.8 GB a second compared to the Xbox One's 68 MB a second. However, Sony is strong here too, with the PS5 SSD said to be able to do the same at a rate of around 5.5 GB per second. That is compared to only 50 MB per second on the PS4. Neither is unimpressive. However, I think that Sony has what it takes to win this round. Game upgrades. Certain PS4 games will be upgraded for free to the PS5 versions if you have a PS5 and a PS4 copy of the game. And yes, this goes for both physical and digital versions of said games. And these aren't just Sony titles. Several EA Sports titles are also confirmed to be getting this treatment. However, Microsoft is trying a similar thing with the Series X, with free optimized versions of Gears 5, Sea of Thieves, and Ori and the Will of the Wisps, among others, for any Series X owners who also had them on Xbox One. On that note, I think we need to go on a small tangent about backwards compatibility. The PS5 is confirmed to be backwards compatible with the PS4, which is great, but the Series X will be compatible with titles from every generation of Xbox. Now, as usual with Xbox backwards compatibility, not every game will be compatible. As such, for fans of Dead or Alive Extreme Beach Volleyball on the original Xbox, it seems like you're out of luck again. But at the same time, just being able to go back and play the likes of Panzer Dragoon Orta, upscaled to 4K, is just plain awesome. While Sony definitely has more new games that will be getting this upgrade treatment, Microsoft's backwards compatibility implementation is just downright impressive. This round most certainly goes to Xbox. Online features. Let's talk about online features. While Sony's PlayStation Plus is cool and all, Xbox Game Pass is truly a thing of beauty. That's especially so if you get it as part of Xbox Live Ultimate. For $15 a month, you get games you can download straight to your system as long as you have your subscription, monthly free games to own, and even access to a whole additional line of games for download to your PC if you have one. Game Pass, along with the ability to pay for a Series X or Series S in monthly installments, makes Microsoft's offering both more affordable and more accessible to more people. As such, this is another round that goes to Xbox. Controllers. Let's talk controllers. On one hand, we have the PS5 DualSense controller, an evolution of the classic DualShock line. On the other hand, we have the Xbox controller. Yeah, I don't think that one has a cool new name. Now, on that note, the controllers both look great. I think whatever button format you prefer depends on what feels best in your hands. Price-wise though, the Series X controllers are only $60 each compared to $70 each for a PS5 DualSense controller. Plus, for those who want custom controllers, Xbox Design Lab will be coming back in 2021 for those who want to design their own custom Xbox controllers. And that's not to knock the DualSense either. This is one of the most incredible looking controllers I've ever seen. So I'll just declare this round a tie. Esports. Alright, so in the realm of esports, what will be king? PS5 or Series X? Well, I mean, if I'm going to be real, it's PC and it's going to continue to be PC, though I think the PS5 has a chance to make at least some inroads into the world of esports. Really, I don't think Microsoft is that concerned with breaking into esports. They seem to be more so focused on making gaming accessible than concerning themselves with such things. Hands down then, the PS5 is a better pick for esports fans. This is due to things such as Call of Duty League exclusivity, and Sony showing that they're willing to go out of their way to make sure that certain big titles are console exclusive. Sony wins this round. Specs. Okay, now let's talk about system specs. And really, both are pretty similar here, though the Series X is slightly stronger. The Series X has an 8-core 3.8 GHz AMD Zen 2 in it. This compared to the same processor at only 3.5 GHz in the PS5. There's a 12 teraflop AMD RDNA 2 GPU in the Series X compared to the same GPU at only 10.3 teraflops in the PS5. Both can display games at up to 8K 120 FPS, and the disc-based versions of these play games from 4K UHD Blu-rays. In my opinion though, console power isn't nearly as important as overall experience. Besides, if you want raw power, just look into getting a PC. But if you insist on buying a system just based on raw specs, go with Xbox. Audience. Now let's bring this back to the biggest difference between the PS5 and Series X. Target audience. I've mentioned this a few times already, but both seem to have fairly different target audiences, though there is some overlap. PS5 seems more geared towards winning over and building a traditional console-based gaming audience. Meanwhile, the Series X and Series S seem to not just want to be souped-up living room boxes like the Xbox One was, but also want to make gaming as accessible as possible at an affordable price. Which one is best for you to get? Well, that's your call. However, and keep in mind that I say this as someone who's getting a PS5 on launch day, I feel like the Series X may actually be better for the majority of folks out there who don't already have a modern gaming platform. Xbox is for those wanting to dive into a lot of games on a budget, while PS5 is for those craving a more traditional console experience with more emphasis on exclusives. So, did this video help you make your pick? Are you still on the fence? Are you going to pass on both? Or are you even just going to pick up a Nintendo Switch instead? Let us know in the comments below and subscribe to The Gamer for more great regular content. See you next time.